I shot this on an iPhone and I shot this on a professional camera. Can you tell the difference? Now the truth is there are times if you light correctly, it's going to be hard to tell the difference between professional gear versus your basic iPhone. But the true question is, how do you want to honestly showcase your brand? How do you want your customers to perceive you time and time again? Do you want it to look like you're constantly updating, or do you want it to look like you're solidified in what your brand is and showcase that right away? We're going to waste no more time and jump right into it. How can using a professional camera gear differ from using something like an iPhone, and how does your viewer ultimately see it? Now, when I say viewer, remember this person can potentially be one of your customers in the near future. So you want to make sure that your brand's coming across in the way that you most want it to. The first thing is that the quality is definitely unmatched when it comes to professional camera gear versus your average iPhone. Now, there's a lot of speculation on new gear that comes out. You've seen the new iPhone 16 and how it has this great cinematic mode and all these great features, but when put to the test, there are more differences than not. For example, check out these scenes right here. They're both shot in bright light and they kind of look pretty similar. But when we take this and we flip it and we're using darker light, darker settings, you can clearly see the difference on what's professional versus what's not. So in all, the drastically different look is because one is made to adapt while the other one really isn't. And this is really where spending time on buying professional camera gear or hiring someone to do this for you really comes in hand and pays off a lot in the long run. And now this leads me to my next point. When you're using an iPhone versus a professional camera, there are things that you can't change within your iPhone settings that you can on a professional camera. Now, again, I'm not just telling you to go out and spend buku money on the latest and greatest pro cam that just was announced. But what I am telling you is don't skimp out on your business just because something's easy for social media, something's easy to put on your website. You really want to make sure you're showcasing your brand to its fullest. And the coolest thing about this all is when you're showcasing your brand to the best light possible, quite literally, you're subconsciously speaking to your potential customer. They're getting a feeling and a sense of your brand being different without you having to tell them. And think about the flip side. If you're telling people about how good your brand is and about how great you guys do whatever, over time it's going to make it seem like your you know what doesn't smell. And it's going to turn people off ultimately. And that's not what you want. It can take years to build a great brand, and it can be destroyed in seconds if you're not getting across the right point in the right way. And I'll show you what I mean. Like, check this image out right here. You can see the clear difference between these two images. They're the exact same thing, filmed in the exact same environment, at the exact same time of day. But one just feels more realistic, feels like you're in the action, versus the other seems a little more flat. And you don't want your brand to seem flat to your potential customer. You want them to understand the importance of why your product is valuable. Remember, when you're using an iPhone, they're just settings, like I said, that you can't change. You can't adjust things like your aperture, which is going to show things that are in focus and things that are out of focus. You can kind of adjust it, but not as well as you can on a professional camera. You can't really adjust things like your shutter speed and how quickly you're rapidly able to take a photo, or how you're able to capture motion when doing a video. And then ultimately, they're just things like low light, as we saw earlier, that you can't really do too much with an iPhone that you can with a professional camera. And you also have the different camera lenses that you can get with a professional camera that will showcase you in a wide shot, you in a tight shot, all these things that make your brand stand out that you might not be able to do when you're just using an iPhone to film any of your content. The practicality of this all is how you really want your brand to show up in the minds of your customer. And my last point is there's just something subconscious that feels slightly cheaper when you see footage from an iPhone like so versus footage from a professional camera as you see right here. Again, I'm not saying that you need to just dump a whole bunch of money into something that you don't understand right away or that might not be as accessible to you because you're just getting started. But what I am saying is when the time is right, you need to upgrade and you need to invest in the quality of equipment that you're using as well to showcase your brand in the way that you want it to be perceived. Think about some of your most popular brands of all time, some of the places you frequent a lot. You probably have mom and pop restaurants that you go to that you love and you wish any and everyone knew of them, but they're a hole in the wall and they don't have any marketing behind them. But then you see restaurants like McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, and they have all these huge marketing budgets that showcase these nice, juicy, thick burgers. And then when you get there, it's not always the same. Showcasing your brand can do a lot for the brand ultimately than you might think. Now, if you can back it up with what you're showcasing, with the quality of what your brand actually is, that makes for a pretty mean product. Remember, the image that you display online ultimately showcases your image as a whole before someone gets to know you. You don't want to be counted out before someone gets to meet you. The old adage, don't judge a book by its cover. I totally agree with it. But let's be honest, human nature, when it comes to brand recognition, people look online, determine whether they're going to go with something, oftentimes based upon how it looks, and reviews, but we'll get there in another video. So hopefully this information helps, and you start thinking about showing up and showcasing your brand in the best light possible. Now, you're probably wondering, where should you get started? What type of professional camera gear should you be investing in? Well, stay tuned for another video, and I got that information for you. If you found this helpful, leave me a comment, maybe a like, and be sure to subscribe for more content like this that will help you elevate your brand more over time.